What is up, everybody? It is Crypto Bobby. Welcome to Crypto Happy Hour. I don't know why I have this on the screen right now, but hell, it's Crypto Happy Hour. I'm having a beer. So is this guy in this crappy stock video I have. And let's get kicked off today talking about the crypto markets, talking about what is happening in the world of Bitcoin, the altcoins, and what is happening right now in the crypto world. If you can hear me all right, let me know in the comments. Just want to make sure the video, the audio, all sounds good, and we're all good to go on that front. And I appreciate all you folks joining me so far. So looking forward to getting this kicked off and really starting this conversation tonight about what is going on in the world of Bitcoin. Taking a little bit of a dip today. What's up, Steve? What's up, Sparkles? Jay, Berserkura, Neil, what's up, my man? How you guys doing? Hope you are having a good one so far. Sweet. Yeah, Bobby Boucher, what's up? What's up, dude? Got a little IPA tonight, or American Pale Ale. It's not too bad. It's actually kind of good. Hope you guys are, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, I don't differentiate, but hope you guys are having a good night. Sipping on something good. If it's water, if it's coffee, I don't care. But hope you guys are sipping on something good, having a good night, and hopefully you've had some success in the crypto markets. What up in Chicago, NYC? What's going on? Was in Chicago pretty recently, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Nice city. I could dig it for sure. Dominican Republic. Thoughts on Potcoin? Dennis Rodman. I don't know. I saw somebody tweet about it. Of course, it goes up 50% today. Yeah, not a lot of thoughts on Potcoin. Potcoin spiked when Dennis Rodman wore a Potcoin shirt to North Korea. If you don't remember that one, what do we got here? There we go. This is what had Potcoin spiking back in the day. And Dennis Rodman wore a Potcoin shirt to meet with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily give me a ton of confidence to invest in it, though. But hey, smart viral marketing on their part, I guess, right? Because if you have questions, definitely feel free to sound off in the comments. As always, I try to get to as many as humanly possible. But if you have something that absolutely must be answered, throw it in a super chat, and I guarantee I'll get to it then. And also a quick thank you to all you folks out there. 1 million views today or yesterday, whenever it was. That was pretty cool. Did not expect that a couple 3 months ago when I started the channel, and the first video that I ended up posting to Reddit in the comments section got 15 views, but relax, Alex. There are children here. What do I think about binary coin? I really don't know too much about binary coin. Is it even in coin market cap? You're talking about Binance? But I don't know too much about binary coin. I don't know what specifically that might be. Bitcoin looks like, Evelyn, what's going on? Bitcoin looks like it's continuing to go down tonight. I think there's definitely a possibility. I mean, I think we're at a point right now, Bitcoin-wise, where I don't necessarily know if we're overbought, but we went up pretty damn fast without much of any downward movement. So I think, this is somewhat of a natural pullback. If we zoom out for the past month or so, this has basically been a rocket ship straight upwards. I'm still holding on to the majority of my Bitcoin. I took a little bit of profit and moved that into Ethereum and Litecoin right now, but I'm still holding on to the majority of my Bitcoin. Number one for the B2X fork, just to get a little bit of that, dividend per se. Outside of that, also just want to hold on to Bitcoin for the long term. Still have those Manitha bags. Drink if you're playing the drinking game. No, I ditched them. I couldn't bear losing anymore, so sometimes you got to cut a loser, and I cut a loser. Put it into Bitcoin, which actually turned out pretty well too. Do I think Bitcoin is going to have another run up before the fork? It depends. I think Goldman Sachs called a run up to 8K today. I mean, granted, it's not that crazy considering where we are right now, but I still think that it's somewhat notable since Goldman's been fairly, while you can have definitely differing opinions on Goldman, they've had some pretty interesting calls over the past, couple months. And right now, I'm looking at this, and I'm just kind of holding where it was. I didn't buy above. I haven't bought anywhere near $7,000, so I'm not really too worried about it right now. If it goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it kind of goes down, and I'm just, for the most part, I'm hanging out right now. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily consider selling Bitcoin. It depends. Like, if you got Bitcoin at 7,500, yeah, that hurts, and yeah, that sucks. But, if you bought it anywhere below where it's at right now, could we have a sell-off? Maybe, but we'll have to see how it ends up playing out. What do you think about the future of Litecoin? Is now a good time to enter? I'm actually, so I'm not like the biggest. I know there's like a lot of Litecoin fanboys and fangirls out there. I'm not the biggest Litecoin fan out there, but I do think that there's going to be Litecoin. I'm kind of getting the feeling, and granted, I could be totally wrong, but I'm kind of getting the feeling that Litecoin could have a nice little bit of a run, depending upon what happens with the fork, but either a little bit post-fork and then continuing afterwards, or basically immediately after the fork. I think that there's going to be, depending upon what happens with B2X, but if there's instability in Bitcoin with the whole B2X fork, I think you're going to see some people running to, I think you might see some people running to both Ethereum and Litecoin, but maybe primarily Litecoin as that source of stability. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at from there. Went all in the other day at 7,300. I mean, long term, you're not really down that much. Depends on how many Bitcoin you bought, but I mean, honestly, it could be a lot worse. Long term, you're probably going to be all right. And even then, I mean, if you're a hold now, depending upon what the B2X fork free money comes in at, I mean, you're still kind of looking at a profit depending upon how things go. Depending upon where the B2X crypto coin ends up being from a tradable perspective, and then where Bitcoin ends up after the fork. But I don't necessarily think, yeah, you bought high at $7,300, but does it mean that it's never going to get back to $7,300? No. And we'll, maybe get back in a profit? Yeah, it's certainly a possibility. Can you talk about the safety of buying after the fork with the replay protection specifically? I think there were a few articles today that were actually published in regards to replay protection or the lack thereof with B2X. So I think I need to do a little bit more research, quite frankly. I believe it was Alex Marcos. Let's see here. Yep. There we go. Let's see. Alex Marcos. I didn't get a chance to read this yet, but let's see here. So I believe this is a article that's fairly critical of B2X as well as basically the lack of replay protection. So I would take a look at that article I just posted in the comments. I need to read through it, but I know there's been a lot of people that have been very critical of the B2X fork because of an apparent lack of replay protection. That definitely does make me, a little bit nervous about things. From a transaction perspective, we'll have to see how things end out. I mean, if we're talking about pure safety, you're better off not making any moves around the time of the fork. I think that's best practice, depending upon, I think there's going to be a ton. If Bitcoin Gold is any indication of what happened on the fork, there's going to be a ton of movement. When that snapshot happens, there's going to be a lot of crazy movement around the time of the fork. So it might be tempting to make trades. If you want to be really safe, don't do anything. Let your hardware wallet take care of it. Whether that's a Ledger or Treasure, or if it's on Coinbase or GDAX, let them take care of it. But it'll depend on what ends up happening. So Caleb mentioned, I'll pop over to the SegWit 2X features now, just so you guys can take a look at this. But Caleb asked, how does this work? What am I doing? How does this work from a free money perspective? And this isn't necessarily free money by any stretch. And I know a lot of people will, you can make some arguments, or you can make some statements that this is very much a contentious, not a good hard fork to have, not a positive thing whatsoever, blah, 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 blah. But as it stands right now, and this is a futures market, so this is trading. If you're not sure what the futures market is, it's basically pretend Bitcoin SegWit 2x tokens, or pretend B2X tokens that are really traded only on one exchange, HitBTC, which is, I don't want to say super sketchy, but kind of sketchy. And it's trading less than $1 million in volume, so it's a pretty illiquid market, subject to potential manipulation. It's only 121 Bitcoins in volume in the past 24 hours. But right now, if you hold one Bitcoin, when this snapshot happens, if you hold one Bitcoin, or if you hold less than one Bitcoin or more than one Bitcoin, you are going to get 20% of B2X. So if I hold one Bitcoin, I'm going to get, as of the time of this fork right now, the value of basically, if I hold one Bitcoin, I'm going to get one B2X coin. That is kind of the dividend. You're not going to lose your Bitcoin. You're basically just getting a free coin, a B2X cryptocurrency. And as of now, how the B2X is going to be valued is that, it's what the market determines it to be valued at. And right now, the futures market, which again is illiquid, not super big, less than $1 million in volume, which is not very substantial, but the market is saying it's worth about 20% of what Bitcoin is currently worth at. So, and I would expect this number to go down personally around the time of the fork, because people are actually, at some point when people get access to their B2X coin, they'll be able to sell it. And there's a lot of people that don't want it. They're not confident in it, and they just want to take their money and maybe buy back more Bitcoin with it. So when that happens, they're going to get 20% they're going to get 0.2, basically they're going to get one Bitcoin or one B2X coin for one Bitcoin, and that B2X as of now is going to be worth 20% of what a Bitcoin is worth. So that is a little bit of an example on what that kind of, how that process is going to work. Do I live trade? Not really. What will the effect of the CME futures be on Bitcoin? I think this is debatable. Some folks have said that the CME does a lot of market manipulation with gold and silver. So that's been all in the comment section, and people have been reaching out to me saying that it's bad news that CME is getting into the Bitcoin space. They're actually getting in 2 days before the fork too. So if you thought shit was going to get crazy with the fork, CME is opening up their futures exchange 2 days before B2X happens. So it should get literally crazy. I mean, it should be an exciting time regardless. Hold on tight to your money to see what happens. But I think that from my perspective, I think that if we're going to take Bitcoin, or Bitcoin's going to get to that next level, if crypto is going to get to that next level, institutional money has to get into the space. There are trillions and trillions of dollars under management from institutions, from large, not just hedge funds, but different portfolio managers, things like that. But right now, primarily large hedge funds that want to bet both long and short on Bitcoin, but there are not the custodial services in place. A multi-billion-dollar hedge fund is not going to go out, or for the most part, a large one that has some type of fiduciary responsibilities. Obviously, there's multiple crypto hedge funds right now. I've met some guys in the space that are doing that, but a lot of these hedge funds that are not super familiar with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies do not want to go out and buy Bitcoin and hold them in a wallet somewhere, because there's not a ton of insurance on them. There's not the custodial services in place. CME gives them the opportunity to get exposure to Bitcoin without actually having to own Bitcoin. So that's a really interesting thing, and it could lead to potential price manipulation and things like that, because these people have so much money. But it is, I think it'll be overall good for the space, because more institutional money needs to come in if we're going to really push things, or if Bitcoin's really going to continue to go to the moon. So we'll see what goes on there. Would I suggest to buy BTX when it is available? Right now, I'm not going to personally. I don't. So there's been a lot of things. The B2X fork is really interesting because everybody on the planet right now, for the most part, like everybody, if you go on Twitter, and granted, Twitter's kind of like an echo chamber, but because you follow certain people, you follow certain people and you go from there. But everybody that I follow, everybody that's talking on Twitter is basically, no 2x, anti 2x, whatever it might be. So the majority of the users that I see are very much no 2x and don't want anything to do with SegWit 2x. So I think that there's not going to be a ton of adoption from that respect. But I think there's also a subset of businesses and influential people that are pushing this B2X through. And it will be interesting to see how this ends up panning out, because there seems to be a total lack of user support. And this was like a decision made behind closed doors, but there's powerful people that are pushing this forward. And my gut tells me that B2X is going to fall flat, but I wouldn't be totally surprised if there is some type of, behind the scenes stuff going on where people in the money, conspiracy theory Rob out here, but people in the money are able to push B2X forward and make it larger. I will say the one thing, and I know there's a lot of issues behind scaling with Bitcoin, but in my opinion, there is, it's funny because I recently, I was talking to my wife, and she was having some conversations really around Bitcoin, and talking about like the original vision of like Satoshi's white paper. And I went through and reread Satoshi's white paper, and even a lot of the information from 3 or 4 years ago, where it was like Bitcoin is instantaneous, it's low fees, it's peer-to-peer transactions, it's borderless, blah blah blah. Right now, Bitcoin isn't really low fee for the most part, and if you want it to be instantaneous, you have to pay high fees. So I think there really are issues around Bitcoin's transaction scalability right now. If it's something where, if it's a buy and hold asset, that's fine. But if it's just, if it's a buy and hold asset, that's fine. But if you really want Bitcoin to be a transactional currency of sorts, or really a digital peer-to-peer cash, the scalability transaction issues, the fees need to be, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. Bitcoin Cash is addressing them in a temporary manner through the raising of basically the raising of the block size to 8 megabits, but they're not utilizing SegWit because they say it's against Satoshi's vision. So who knows? Somebody mentioned, do I think the U.S. stock market doing well or is good or bad for crypto? For the most part, I don't see a big correlation between the U.S. stock market and the crypto market. I don't know if anybody has data to prove otherwise, but to be honest, I don't even look at the stock market anymore, even though I have a lot more money in my regular stock portfolio than I do in crypto. I'm just so much more fascinated by crypto than I am, for the most part, the regular stock market, because most of my money is just in mutual funds and ETFs and like basic stuff. But as far as any specific correlation there, who knows? Somebody mentioning, should I move my Bitcoin to Ethereum? I think getting somewhat exposure to... Sorry if there's any internet issues. Don't know exactly why that is happening. But sorry about that. And outside of, from the perspective of... Really from the... Let's see here. You got a green screen? Yeah, I did get a green screen. It's like $100 on Amazon. It's kind of cool investment. What is my net worth? $8 billion, Jacob. Sumo Sussex, where can I buy Bitcoin Cash? If you ever want to find out, I've talked about this a little bit before, but if you ever want to find out where to buy anything in general, go to CoinMarketCap, click on the currency that you want to buy. So click on Bitcoin Cash and go to markets. And that'll tell you the exchanges that Bitcoin Cash, Jay, what's up? That'll tell you the exchanges that Bitcoin Cash is trading on, as well as the pairings and the volume. So if you want to, if you want to trade Bitcoin Cash, if you want to trade any crypto, go to CoinMarketCap, click on the Markets tab, and that will do you in. Can I explain what a choppy fork means? I was just kind of throwing a play on words there because the market was a little bit choppy today. There's not really anything choppy specifically about the fork itself, but just really kind of choppy markets ahead of the fork, as we can see from the overall perspective of Bitcoin as well as a lot of the other crypto today. Bitcoin up about 3.5%, or down about 3.5%. Ethereum up a little bit. What is my opinion on Bitcoin and its influence on the crypto market, or BitConnect and its influence on the crypto market as a whole? Do I feel BitConnect is one of those coins that make people consider crypto a pyramid scheme? I don't know if there's that many people still that consider Bitcoin or the crypto markets a pyramid scheme. I think in a lot of respects it's just brother to brother, bro. I think in a lot of respects it's really just, when I compare the valuation of cryptocurrency, in a lot of cases, at least with Bitcoin and some of the other platforms, Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think it's easy to discuss the valuation. But I talk about it as digital gold, and there are economic elements behind it, such as computing power, and that it's not a Ponzi. Bitcoin is not a Ponzi scheme. Ethereum is not a Ponzi scheme because there is no promise of a return on investment. So there is no promise of a return on investment. The valuation has increased incredibly, but it's what the market is willing to pay for it, and it's hard to value. It's hard to valuate, but there is no promise or return on investment. And so, I don't think BitConnect necessarily makes everybody think that the entire market is a Ponzi scheme. I also think BitConnect is still, while it's big in the crypto space, it's still kind of just a pimple on the ass of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So we'll see. Is it a scam? I think you can do your own research. I think there's a lot of people promoting it that get huge referral bonuses and are basically living the high life on the referral bonuses from BitConnect, and it's pretty easy to see who those people are, and they're always pretty into defending that currency. What do I think about ETH Connect? Anything that promises returns in cryptocurrency isn't really a cryptocurrency. It's centralized, and if you promise returns, it's yeah, Luke, a little bit, brother. I'm white, though. Yeah, I did buy a house with BitConnect loans. I'm just completely kidding, but yeah, no, I bought my house with a real job. As many of you know, I don't do Bitcoin full time. So I don't do Bitcoin full time. I don't do cryptocurrency full time, but this is probably my favorite hobby in the world, and something I enjoy and spend the vast majority of my day doing, thinking about, and enjoying. So we'll see right there. I work in software sales. Proof of stake equals promise returns. I don't necessarily think proof of stake is promise returns. I think there are issues with proof of stake, and it does encourage you to hold on to your cryptocurrency, which can potentially artificially inflate the cost of some of these, basically artificially inflate the cost of some of these cryptocurrencies, or the price, because more people are holding to stake their crypto. But I think proof of stake is really interesting, and it also solves some of the issues around Bitcoin mining, since that is using up so much electricity nowadays. And there's some other issues around there as far as Bitcoin initially. I think the interesting thing too, if you go back and you look at the history of Bitcoin, when Satoshi created Bitcoin, you used to be able to open up a computer, open up a laptop, and mine Bitcoin on your PC and actually earn something substantial enough to justify doing it. Now with ASICs and even with GPU mining, if you want to mine really anything, you at least need some pretty legit GPU power to justify the cost of electricity and what you're doing there. So it's, from that perspective, I think that proof of stake is interesting. It's an interesting concept, and I think it's a little bit more democratic in a lot of respects than even mining is now, because mining has become so centralized in a lot of ways. I also really like the topic of mining, and mining is really interesting in my opinion. I've done mining in the past. It's really not economically feasible for me to do now. I wish it was. I wish there were legitimate cryptocurrencies that you could actually make a decent amount of money mining now, but there really for the most part aren't. With a pretty standard PC or computer, laptop, whatever. Is Vertcoins and other cryptocurrency non-ASIC mining the future? I don't really think it is. There's a lot of cryptocurrency out there that is non-ASIC mining, and that's basically just crypto that you can mine with a GPU. I think there's others like Vertcoin that's done a pretty good job recently, and some others that have basically just advertised that you can't use ASICs, and that's why we exist. I don't think that is the only reason to own a cryptocurrency, and I don't think that it's going to be the future necessarily, but it's interesting from that standpoint of being able to mine it. But even the non-ASIC mining computers, for the most part, are dominated by legit GPU mining. So, somebody mentioned ETN mining. I know a lot of you guys might be invested in Electroneum, or some of you guys might be invested in Electroneum. I personally haven't been very impressed with the Electroneum team and how they've launched. I know they had 300,000 people register for it. That was also due to them having a pretty smart marketing referral bonus thing. But Electroneum, their launch, if you have money in it, great, but you also have to open your eyes to the fact that they basically just forked over Monero, and they've done a shit ass job of forking Monero as well. Putting it kindly, I don't think Electroneum is a scam, but I also don't think they have any idea what they're doing from a crypto perspective. I really don't. And I didn't invest in Electroneum, but I've kind of busted their balls a little bit and made some jokes on Twitter. And to do that, I tried out their mining software. I tried out their stuff. They their whole premise was, we're going to have a mobile wallet and we're going to do all this. We're going to have a mobile wallet. We're going to democratize this. We're going to make it the easiest to use cryptocurrency on the planet, blah, blah, blah. When they launched, their ICO investors couldn't access their money. The only thing you could use was a paper wallet that no normal people, or the majority of normal people, don't know how to use a paper wallet. Their miner didn't work. So it was a whole... Their launch was and is still kind of a joke. If you have money in it, great, good for you. I wish you the best. But quite frankly, I've been a little bit unimpressed with their launch and the fact that they raised $40 million and still didn't know what they were doing. So who knows? So Jason mentioned, does it matter where you keep your Bitcoin to get B2X? Are there other wallets that you'll miss out on B2X coin? Yeah, it does actually matter where you were, where your Bitcoin is. Depending upon where you want to hold it, ETN coin I don't think it's a moon coin. Maybe it'll go up, but if you can't launch right, you're not gonna. I don't have any confidence putting my money in a cryptocurrency that can't get a launch right. Forking Monero with $40 million in the bank. So that's just me. You don't like it? Fine, but good luck investing in it, honestly. But I just went over exactly why I'm not a massive fan of it. You can pretty simply say why. But yeah, Bitcoin, if you have Bitcoin and you're looking to get B2X, what I would recommend doing is wherever your B2X is, or wherever you're holding your Bitcoin, if that's in a hardware wallet, if that's on an exchange, look at the support tickets and look at the blogs. You should be able to, if it's on CoinBase, They have, you know, if it's on Coinbase, they have information about what they're going to do with what they're going to do with Bitcoin B2X. If it is on if it's on GDAX, if it's on Ledger, if it's on Treasure, just Google your wallet and your exchange and B2X, and that should give you some information. It's different for every exchange or every wallet, so I don't want to give you any hard information, but I would definitely recommend doing your research there. Ether Delta versus Radar Relay. I haven't done a ton of Radar Relay investigation, so I can't tell you too much. I like Ether Delta. It works. Is it perfect? By absolutely no means is Ether Delta perfect. Pretty clunky, but it works and it's decentralized. So, you know, and it's good on Ether Delta. Am I investing in props by you now? Yeah, I am an advisor for props by you now. So I am an advisor with props by you now, and in terms of working with them, I am basically getting paid in props tokens. So I'm investing in, rather than getting paid in US dollars or anything else, I'm investing that money into props. So yeah, I am participating in their ICO by you now. Power Ledger, haven't done too much information on, or haven't done too much research on it after the ICO. They reached out to me a few different times to cover their ICO. I didn't feel like it was a great fit for me, and didn't have a ton of interest in working with them. But it seemed a little, it seemed like it was a little too niche of a use case for me. But if you're investing in it, all good to you. I believe Ledger Nano S or Ledger Nano will support B2X. Thoughts on EOS, scam or the future? I don't think EOS is a scam, but I don't love how they're basically doing a. Thanks, Jay. My wife would love that. I don't think she would, but. What am I sipping on? It is Erie Brewing Company American Pale Ale. It's not bad. But I don't think EOS is a scam, but I also wouldn't. I'm not super interested in putting my money in EOS at the time either. So we'll have to see how things end up. It had a nice little spike recently. It was kind of on the downward. Jesus Christ, Alex. It's on a downward spiral there, but it's had a nice little spike in the past couple of days, so we'll see what goes on. Tim Cruz, thoughts on Binance? So I've used Binance, the exchange. I like it for the most part. It's pretty good. No real complaints so far. You don't have to do any identity verification for the most part of it too, which is kind of cool. You can get further identified if you want to increase your Bitcoin withdrawal limits, things like that. But for Binance, I like the exchange. I haven't used the Binance token. Where is it? Binance Coin. It's actually done pretty well performance-wise. No, not really. But I don't necessarily think. I mean, for the fees on Binance are pretty small. Fees on Binance are pretty small, and for me to hold Binance Coin just to get better fees, it's like, whatever. So I just, if I need anything, Binance has a good amount of crypto trading on it that some are just basically on Ether Delta, and that's it. So I'd prefer to trade on Binance rather than Ether Delta. Chris Bradley, I think EOS is a game changer. EOS has a couple different. So I think EOS is somewhat reminiscent of a lot of the cryptos out there, in my opinion. Whereas, a lot of the crypto, a lot of these tokens, a lot of these companies out there promise really big things. They promise great things, but are they actually going to be able to deliver on those promises? EOS is supposed to be the Ethereum killer. It's supposed to be significantly more scalable than Ethereum. It's supposed to have a lot more transaction capability than Ethereum. But it's from the perspective of Ethereum, there are thousands of developers developing dApps on, distributed applications on Ethereum. There are, for better or for worse, hundreds of ICOs that have happened on Ethereum. There are hundreds of smart contracts that have been developed on Ethereum. Is anybody really running anything on EOS yet? And until that happens, and until they, in my opinion, prove mass scale and kind of get out of the here's what we can do phase and we're doing it phase, that is when I'll start believing both EOS and a lot of these other cryptocurrencies out there. So that's kind of my opinion on a lot of them, where they're promising something, but are they actually going to be able to deliver on them? Who knows? If you have Coinbase, do you have to register for GDAX or just sign in? You should be able to just sign in with GDAX. GDAX is my jam. Love me some GDAX all day long. Somebody mentioned, what's my take on Crypterium? I'm not familiar with Crypterium, so apologies on that. Brent mentioned, have you looked into Bloom? Their ICO is scheduled for the 14th, but they are considering pushing it back, which I think is what they should do. I actually have looked into Bloom. I talked to the CEO, Jesse, a while ago. Let me see here. I don't want to. Kiana, I'll get that in a second. Thank you very much, Kiana, for that super chat. Appreciate it, my man. Let me make sure this is paused. If you want to check out my interview with Jesse from Bloom, not sponsored, nothing at all like that. He is just a super smart dude from Stanford. He's a Peter Thiel fellow, which Vitalik Buterin was also a Peter Thiel fellow. So somebody reached out to me that was advising their company and was like, hey, do you want to speak to Jesse? The audio was a little bit messed up in the video. This is back in mid-September, early September, when I was just getting started with it. But Jesse's a super smart dude, and when that ICO does happen, I think they have a legitimate use case. And I don't think a lot of ICOs are a great fit. But I don't think a lot of ICOs are a great fit right now, just because the overall ICO market has been down. But I think I'm definitely going to participate with Bloom, just because I think Jesse and that team are some pretty legit people. Do I have any interest in Komodo or Substratum? I'll pull up Substratum. Let's see here. So Substratum's a little bit farther down. $25 million market cap. Komodo a little bit bigger. Obviously a lot bit bigger at 270. Komodo about 10 times bigger than what we have with Substratum. I mean, as far as Komodo goes, I think it's a fairly interesting. My wife loves Coldplay. I went to a Coldplay concert this summer. That was a birthday present. So I have not seen Metallica live. I have seen Coldplay live. I don't know how that makes me feel, but they were actually pretty not a big Coldplay fan personally, but they're pretty good live. Why not quit my day job? Because I like money and health benefits. Is LA Token a scam? They are also another company that reached out to me a bunch. I wasn't a big proponent of LA Token. I thought it was fairly interesting at first, but ended up deciding to go in the other. Ended up deciding to not really participate in the ICO, so I didn't participate in the ICO, and decided to kind of not really participate with that one. I think it's just too far. I'm looking at I'm looking at these ICOs as of now and looking at the ones with super long roadmaps and timelines, and starting to see that any ICO with a very long timeline is going to be tough to invest in and see any type of return. You're really going to need ICOs that have a product on day one or some semblance of a product on day one. Otherwise, there's no reason to hold on to the Otherwise, there's really no reason to hold on to that token, and the majority of people that are in that are going to be pure speculators. And the second an ICO goes under ICO price, like let's say if a crypto ICO, somebody just asked about Black Moon Crypto, which I participated in, hasn't done well at all. And this is kind of a learning lesson, because Black Moon Crypto, for me, this is part of what's Black Moon Crypto and AirSwap token. Neither did very well. Participated in both. They're both pretty fairly well regarded. Black Moon Crypto ICO'd at $1, and the second it hits an exchange, it's selling at, let's say, 95 cents. Somebody's selling it at 95 cents, and then everybody else goes, oh shit, this is selling at 95 cents. It's selling under ICO price. I want to get rid of it. And then that just starts a cascading effect downward and downward and downward, and it's really hard to recover from that. On the other side of the house, if something trades, if you have an ICO and there was a lot of demand behind it or whatever it was, and it ICOs at $1, but it goes on the exchanges at $1.50 or $2, that's when people start freaking out and FOMOing, and that's when people outside the ICO go in and they're like, oh, wow, I missed out on this ICO at $1.50. It's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up, and they just drive that price through the roof. So I think what happens immediately after the ICO is really interesting, at least now, and really telling, especially if it goes below ICO price, because that just starts a cascading effect where people freak the hell out, and it makes it really difficult to get any type of profit at all. So I talked about Electroneum a little bit earlier. I don't know how fully they got hacked or whatever, but if they got hacked and they lost anything from the users, that's really unfortunate. Somebody mentioned on-chain FX is awesome. Yeah, I think on-chain FX is pretty cool, quite frankly. And I am not somebody in the video. I saw somebody tweet about them. I think it was like Ryan Selkis or somebody else, but I saw somebody in like the VC world. I think they're VC backed, but somebody tweeted about this website, On-Chain FX, and somebody in the comments was like, yeah, dude, you're definitely sponsored by them. And I'm like, no, this is actually just something I thought was cool and interesting, because I could flag, I have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, I have OMG, I have Civic. I can flag what these are doing from a USD or Bitcoin perspective. I can look at the recent quotes. I can see the daily movers. They have these different crypto asset indexes. You can sort things by sector. I think this is a pretty cool website, even more so than CoinMarketCap. It doesn't have as many crypto coins as CoinMarketCap, but it's pretty cool in my opinion. So not sponsored or influenced by them by any stretch. I just think I think it's probably a useful website for you to check out and see. You could see some pretty cool filters and things of that nature as well. Like I talked about this in today's video as well, where days since all-time high. I think this is a pretty cool stat where you can go in, you could see how many days it's been since that cryptocurrency hit its all-time high. For Bitcoin, it's been 1 day since it hit its all-time high. For Ethereum and Ripple, it's almost been half a year, which is pretty crazy. So you can get some really good information on these cryptos, and I like this. I like this website a lot. I think it's definitely something. I'll put a link here, but they don't charge for anything too. It's in a beta, so I think it's pretty cool. A good alternative if you want to find something else outside of CoinMarketCap. However, there's only like 50 or 60 coins in it, whereas CoinMarketCap is like 8 billion. So. Somebody mentioned thoughts on Civic. So Civic hasn't really been doing a whole lot in the market recently. It's kind of been sitting around 30 cents, 28 cents. I participated in the ICO back June 21st. They were sold, I think, for 10 cents, the ICO. So it's at 28 cents. So I've been up for a while. I haven't been all the way up, but I haven't sold anywhere near the top. It's been pretty, it's been a pretty successful coin though for the most part. I mean, I'm still well in the profit, so I'm just holding on. I'm holding on to Civic for the most part, as I am with OMG. Civic and OMG are kind of the two altcoins that I have a lot of interest in. I think they both have some pretty interesting potential. So right now, Civic, OMG, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And I'm probably looking to, at some point in time, I got into Neo at $8. So I got into OMG at $1 or $1.50 back in like June, July. I got into Neo pretty early on at $8 US dollar. I don't remember what the Bitcoin trading pairing was, but I got in at $8 and ended up selling at $38. So I got rid of all my Neo because the whole China rumors were coming out at that time back in September when China banned cryptocurrency basically. So I got rid of all my Neo, but I think now before the fork at some point in time, Neo might have a little bit of a spike. So I'm evaluating whether or not I might hop back into Neo and see what is going on there. So Scott MC mentioned 30% cash, 10% Bitcoin, 60% alts for this fork. I think that's probably a decent. I think that's probably a pretty decent move. I think it's always good to have cash reserves as well to pull the trigger. I think that's one thing that it's tough because you get so excited about these markets in a lot of respects, and it's so easy to be like, all right, I want to go all in. Bitcoin's going up. I want to go all in, but sometimes it doesn't go all the way up. In the past couple of days, Bitcoin's been a freaking rocket ship to the moon since the past 3 months. Bitcoin has basically done nothing but go up. But a lot of the other altcoins haven't. So if you've been waiting to get in some of these altcoins, and if you had money on the side, that's been a great time. But these green arrows back there, that's been a fun time for me because that's when I bought all my Bitcoin or rebought into Bitcoin back in the 3,700 range. So Bobby's been happy about buying that dip back in the day when people are freaking out a little bit. That's worked out well. That's always a good time. So David mentioned, aren't all altcoins other than BTC just a scam Ponzi scheme? How are they even worth anything? I wouldn't say they're a scam or a Ponzi scheme. I think there are number one, there are some scams out there, and there are some Ponzi schemes. So there are some and some, without a doubt. But I don't think a lot of them are scams. I think the majority of them do have good intentions. The majority of them aren't scams or Ponzi schemes. I do think the majority of cryptocurrency right now, outside of some of the main ones, like let's say pull up CoinMarketCap, outside of some of the top ones, some of these are, the majority of these are extremely, even after the pullback, are extremely, extremely overvalued. Even Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin is a $118 billion market cap. It's hard to value that. Ethereum, I think, also has some legit utility. Ripple, Litecoin as well. But you can start going down here to some things like IOTA is pretty. I like IOTA. I've met some people. I've literally met some people on the IOTA team. But I mean that's a pretty new cryptocurrency and still very much in its infancy. To have $1 billion valuation, if that was a company, that would be pretty difficult to justify. Even if you go down here, like EOS, $443 million market cap right now. Are they widely used? Are they widely adopted? Not really. Are they worth $443 million? In my opinion, no. But does the market say it's worth $443 million? Yes. So I think it's difficult. Most people don't know how to value cryptocurrencies at all. There really isn't an established formula. There's no price to earnings ratio. There's no revenue for a lot of these cryptocurrencies. So that's something that I would definitely say is interesting. Do I think BitConnect is a scam? I talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. I do think BitConnect at some point in time is going to implode. You can, if you put your money in BitConnect, you could probably make your money back in 90 days. And if they last more than 90 days, you can probably make some money. But I do think that BitConnect is absolutely a Ponzi scheme. It's just a matter of how long the Ponzi scheme is going to last. They do pay people 1% a day or around 1% a day, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. That type of return is outrageous. And if you want to say it's not outrageous, you don't know returns, you don't know markets. And anybody on Wall Street would slit somebody's freaking throat and kill every country on the planet, people on Wall Street would, for 40% monthly return compounded. So, any comments on Bitcoins? I don't have too much info on Bitcoins right now. David, how do we justify this gain without any real use? I mean, I think Bitcoin has a real use. I think Ethereum has real use. I think Litecoin has real use, but there are issues right now, and it is a developing technology. When I started with Bitcoin, when I started using Bitcoin in like 2013, you could send Bitcoin, and the blocks were not full, and you could send transactions. You could send hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it would cost you like less than $1. On the other end of the spectrum, right now we're running into significant scaling issues because the blocks are getting full. They're trying to implement SegWit, and SegWit adoption has been pretty slow. And they're basically, two things have to happen for the most part. You need to increase the size of the blocks, or you really need to work on getting these layer 2 scaling solutions in place. And people are just arguing all over the place about it. As far as what the best scaling method is and how that should be kind of move forward. But I do think Bitcoin has a legitimate use case. I also think there's future value priced into the marketplace as well. I see some people with Marco, what's up, my man? Green Bastard, how's it going? Power Ledger, I talked about it a little bit beforehand, but not a little bit too niche use case for me, so I'm just not super interested in it personally. In my anti-spam box saying Bitcoin is digital gold, a store of value, I don't think it will ever be a transactional currency. I tend to agree with that in some cases. I think it was really meant initially to be a transactional currency. If you read Satoshi's white paper, that's really what it was about, was being a transactional peer-to-peer digital cash. But there are right now running into issues, and people are doing a lot more speculation on the price of Bitcoin than they are utilizing it for transactions in a lot of respects, especially small transactions. It doesn't really make a ton of economic sense to do so. James mentioned something about Coin Earner. They do 1% to 2%, but they're not big on the referral side. I don't think for BitConnect, I don't think it has to do with any of the referrals. I think it just has to do with anything that promises a return on investment. Anything that promises a return on investment is very much a shady in my book. Somebody just mentioned, a lot of us here are making more than 1% a day, so that's not unrealistic. And yeah, it might not be unrealistic right now, because for BitConnect right now, if you're holding, basically, if you're giving them money and the price of Bitcoin, if they're keeping BitConnect and they're basically holding that BitConnect in Bitcoin, and they're just kind of pricing up the market they're following up the market, they're trending the market, and they're making money off Bitcoin, that's fine. But they have a so-called trading bot, and what happens when the price of Bitcoin goes down? Are they actually able to short sell Bitcoin? Are they really like intelligent traders? Do they really have an algorithm there? I highly doubt it. I think they've just had good luck, and the price of Bitcoin has gone up since their launch, so they've been able to keep the lights on. We'll see from there. Dash is the best positioned token for transactions, and I don't even have any at the moment. I think Dash is interesting from a transactional perspective, which is why it's in the top 10. They also do a good job marketing as well. You're welcome, Evan. Glad to help, my man. Somebody mentioned, is my portfolio still over 50% Bitcoin? Yes, at the time, it still is. I moved a little bit out. It's about 50% Bitcoin right now, actually. So I moved a little. It was at like 60, 65% or so previously. I moved about 5% back into Ethereum, and another 5% into block. Alex, you're weird as shit, bro. Moved another 5% from Litecoin, or 5% of my Bitcoin into Litecoin, 5% into Ethereum today, during the middle of kind of this little bit of a downtrend. So if you are new, somebody else mentioned, and I've talked about BitConnect a bunch. I don't want to beat this over the head with a hammer. So I would very much caution you guys, if you're thinking about it, if you're doing it, very much caution you that train will run out. Genesis mining or some of the other cloud mining solutions on the other end of the spectrum, I just don't think they're profitable. I think you are significantly better off putting your money either in a mining rig if you really want to mine, or if you don't really know anything about mining, just buying the cryptocurrency itself. Significantly better, in my opinion. Run the profitability. All you have to do is do mining profitability calculator, and I'll give you guys a quick example here. Let's say, okay, let's hop over to Genesis Mining. These are the biggest guys around. I want to start mining right now, so I'll click on this. I don't actually have, what do we got? Pricing. So what do we got? Bitcoin mining right now. They all sold out. Okay, so they have an Ethereum mining contract. So if I want to mine, let's say I want to buy this plan. It's $869 for 3 mega hashes of fucking Ethereum hashing. I can do this, $869. Let me go over to the mining profitability calculator. I guarantee you it's not going to be anywhere near profitable. So what do we got? So this was 30 mAh. There's no power consumption because it's cloud mining. I think they do take a percentage of, I don't know the percentage off the top. So I have no idea what the percentage off the top is. But if you look at this, if you spend $869 on this mining, you're only making, without any cut, you're only making $43 a day, or $43 a month. That's making $1 a day to give them, you're making $528 a year. So if you do a 2-year contract, depending upon how things go, you're doing this is a 2-year contract. Ethereum is also moving to proof of stake, so it's like but even if Ethereum mining lasts for 2 years, you're doing $528. So let's say if the price of Ethereum stays stable, you make $1,056 if the price of Ethereum stays stable, and you paid $869. So you made a whopping $187 to lock up almost $1,000 in cash. Not worth your time. You can run that. You can run that type of analysis on basically anything in these mining pools, and the only reason for the most part these things are successful in a lot of ways is because you got YouTubers all over the place pushing this crap and telling you how much money they make on mining, and they're all full of crap. They're all full of it. Yeah, so somebody mentioned cloud mining is junk. Set your own up device, get up to 450 mega hash, and make $600 a month. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to mine. Evan, if I was just starting to invest in crypto, what would I recommend? So if you want to go over here, I have my portfolio posted as well, but I mean, this is my personal portfolio right now. So if you want to see kind of my own personal portfolio, I'm heavily weighted in Bitcoin and Ethereum at the moment. So we'll see what's going on. How much equipment do you need to mine efficiently? I mean, I'm not a miner at all. I know the process of mining. I know how I know how it works. I know how to mine, but I just really haven't found it to be economical in my respect to mine anything. But there are, in a lot of respects, from my standpoint, there's a lot of resources out there that can give you stuff in depth. There's mining profitability calculators, so getting away from Genesis because that's not profitable really. But you can do mining profitability calculators. There's whattomine.com. There's a lot of stuff out there. You can Google a lot of things, as well as somebody just said, I don't believe in lights. It's a little dark in the house, but and I don't feel like having light shine in my eye, but whatever makes you happy. You think it's possible to develop a currency that doesn't inflate using the blockchain? I mean, that's kind of what Tether is. Granted, there's some questions around Tether, but Tether is linked to the US dollar. I don't think there's a huge need for multiple tethers, though, in my opinion. So, yeah, Michael mentioned I have a 3 GPU rig. Wanted to get in on any and all aspects. I think mining itself is a really interesting way to further understand cryptocurrency, whatever you're mining. I think it's a really educational process. If you're not techie, you're going to have to do a lot of research to get your computer up and running to mining successfully. That was one of the big things that got me interested in cryptocurrency, was actually learning how to mine Dogecoin. Dogecoin was the first cryptocurrency that I mined, and then I started mining Bitcoin back in the day on a USB miner, on a USB miner stick as well. So I think mining is awesome, but I don't recommend, if you want to mine, that's great, but you need to do a lot of research and buy the right equipment. I would also recommend GPU mining and not ASIC mining, just because ASICs seem to expire every 5 seconds. Not expire, but there's a new, better ASIC every 3 minutes. So that's something that you definitely want to consider. Yeah, I'm running low on beer too. I got another one in the fridge downstairs, but at some point in time, I'm going to have to hop up. There's 500 people on here, so thank you. First of all, thank you, everybody, for joining as well. And if you are new to the channel by any chance, I do daily crypto videos, and then I do these YouTube Live Crypto Happy Hours where I just pop in here and try to answer as many questions as possible before I lose my voice and when I run out of beer. One or the other, probably both. So I do appreciate you guys joining, and if you are new, hit that subscribe button and the little notify bell next to it. So anytime I do go live, I try to mention it as early as possible, but anytime I do go live, you get that notification as well. Are USB mining sticks still worth it? No, not even close. They literally, you'll get like 1,000th of a cent if you mine with the USB mining stick now. But they were fun. There was a point in time where they actually made you money, and that was awesome. I literally would just plug them into a desktop and let that shit run, and they would get so hot it would like melt your hand. It was ridiculous. Anything on invest straight into blockchain technology? Brad, I have no clue what the hell that means. If you can expand upon that, I will definitely answer. Yeah, still waiting on the Neblio video. I will definitely get to that. Sorry about that, my man. Oh, Kevin. Is Bittrex safe? I do like Bittrex. I have found Bittrex safe. I would recommend not keeping your cryptocurrency on an exchange long term. I would recommend getting a hardware wallet and utilizing that to keep your money on an exchange long term. So I would recommend that over keeping your money on any exchange long term, but I have found Bittrex to be safe and trustworthy for the most part. There were some rumors about closing accounts. I think it had to do with making sure that accounts had proper verification. But yeah, we'll have to see there. I think for the most part, I trust Bittrex from a centralized perspective, but everybody's had issues with, if we ask, there's 500 people here right now. Probably 500 people have had different complaints about Coinbase and Bittrex and GDEX and Poloniex. and Ether Delta. Like, everybody's had an issue with one exchange or the other. So do I ever trade on margin? No, I don't. I don't have the guts for that, quite frankly. So Justin mentioned, what do I think would happen if an established company like Facebook or Amazon wants to publicly step into crypto technology? Do you think they would adopt current options, or would they develop their own and compete? It depends. And Sagar, I will get to your thoughts on the Goldman Sachs Bitcoin prediction to 8,000 Crypto Spark. What is up, my man? Hope you're having a good one. Going from there, though, going back to that question, Justin, again, appreciate that. So there are big companies that are working in the crypto market right now. You have Microsoft, you have Oracle, you have Amazon to some extent, smaller wise. They're not really transacting in cryptocurrency. They're not doing anything from that respect, but they're looking to leverage blockchain technology. Both Microsoft and Oracle are now leveraging like blockchain as a service for companies that want to build blockchain, basically their own version of a blockchain, and pay Microsoft and Oracle to do so. So kind of centralized, and in some cases might defeat the purpose. But what would happen if an established company like Amazon or Facebook steps into crypto tech? I guess it depends on how they step into crypto tech. I think a lot of people have been, in my opinion, making up rumors about Amazon to kind of pump up the price and like gain a bigger following in a lot of respects in the crypto market. Not going to name names, but there have been people out there that have been using Amazon's going to start accepting Bitcoin to pump up their newsletter and things like that, which is kind of silly and ridiculous because Amazon is a $400 billion company, and quite frankly, I don't really think it makes a ton of sense for them to accept Bitcoin yet. I don't think Bitcoin's really at that. I think it almost made more sense to accept Bitcoin 2 years ago when the transaction fees were lower and there were things like that just made more sense. Now it's just doesn't make it. If I want to go buy something on Amazon, I'm going to buy it with the US dollar. I'm not going to buy it with Bitcoin for the most part. So, but if Amazon were to actually publicly do anything regarding Bitcoin, or Facebook were, I think that would absolutely jack up the price of crypto. Will it happen? Who knows? Mark mentioned, I'm hesitant to sign up to GDAX because they want a picture ID verification. Do I think it's safe in regards to identity theft? I have my stuff on GDAX. Coinbase/GDAX, over $1 billion company. If I'm going to trust anybody in the Bitcoin blockchain space with my identity, it'll be Coinbase and GDAX, just because I think they're probably one of the few companies that have the best safeguards in place. Whereas, it depends on personal preference, but I like GDAX. They can have my ID. Thanks to Equifax, my freaking social security number, credit information, address is probably already floating the web somewhere anyway. So, to be honest, I don't really give a shit at this point. Original versus SegWit, who will win? So it's the original core is already actually. One key differentiator is the current version of Bitcoin is already activated SegWit, so it is already, the differentiation is now original or Bitcoin Core versus SegWit 2x, because right now the version of Bitcoin is actually running SegWit already, but they're opposed, or Bitcoin Core is opposed to doubling the block size, hence SegWit 2x. The 2x part is what the main argument is around, not necessarily the SegWit part. So original versus SegWit is actually somewhat of a misnomer. It's really Bitcoin Core versus SegWit 2x is probably how you'd want to refer to that as. And somebody else mentioned, so Sagar before mentioned that Goldman Sachs had a call today that said Bitcoin was going up to $8,000. So let's see. I didn't actually read the article. I saw it on Twitter though. See if it's in the news. Here we go. CoinDesk. Yep. So according to Business Insider and Bloomberg, they have Goldman actually has two technical analysts now, Sheba Jafari and Jack Abramovitz, said that there are signs that Bitcoin could be heading up to a new run-up. This is something that, according to their analysis, the break-even point, or I mean not the break-even point, but the point that they're looking at is $7,940 or so. So I don't think this is that crazy of a call. If it does happen, I mean, I think this would logically be going up into the B2X fork. We're having a little bit of a pullback now. We're having a little bit of profit taking now. But logically speaking, I wouldn't doubt by any stretch if Bitcoin runs up to, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, we were at about $7,600 the other day. That's only $300-$400 more. So it wouldn't shock me if Bitcoin hits this prior to the fork. I mean, we still have about 8 or 10 days before the fork. So somebody mentioned, I see the Civic charts. It's sleeping. Yeah, it is. Civic is sleeping right now. Somebody else mentioned Engine Coin. Yeah, it has had a rough go. I put a decent amount into the ICO, and it hasn't returned at all. So that hasn't been great. I kind of figured that was going to happen when it basically didn't sell at its ICO, was kind of stuck at like 88, 92% or something like that. So basically anything that can't sell at its ICO is going to have a tough go once it actually hits the open market as well. So that's something you certainly want to be concerned with there. Why not $10,000 before the fork? It's $10,000. It seems like a lot of money to run up $2,500 in. If it runs up another if we're talking about another $2,500, it's a lot, or almost $3,000 now at this point in time. That seems like a very that's doubling basically in a month and a half Bitcoin. I don't know if that has it in it. Who knows? Maybe it does, but we'll see. I think Bitcoin probably, within the fork, it's going to keep the valuation, if not go up a little bit more. But I think $10,000 might be a little bit aggressive. Do I do margin trading? No, I do not. Don't have the stomach for it, and I don't think I'm smart enough to risk it either. Somebody said, please tell me why no Litecoin. Let's see. I don't have Litecoin in my portfolio here, but I actually just made a move into Litecoin today. So Litecoin is probably about 5 or 10% of my portfolio now at the time being. Just as an FYI. How can I attend meetups in NYC? Go to meetup.com and search for blockchain, and that should pop up. Let's see, explore meetups, wherever you want to go. But yeah, search blockchain. I mean, there was a meetup tonight. There's meetups all the time. Somebody mentioned the other day that they went to a meetup at the Microsoft office, and as I mentioned before, Microsoft is obviously getting into Bitcoin blockchain tech, or really just blockchain technology. But Microsoft actually had two meetups going at the same time because the first one was so crowded. So something pretty interesting. Going to visit the Blockchain Expo in Santa Clara at the end of the month. No, I'm not going to be able to. It's kind of hard for me to, since I do have a day job. I see a lot of these YouTubers going out and going to like all these conferences and doing nothing but going to these conferences, and especially the Ethereum DevCon in Mexico. Like, I would have loved to have gone to Mexico, but Robbie's got to pay the bills and got to pay the mortgage. So yeah, I'm not able to go to all that stuff. Got to keep grinding on the day job. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm gonna get another beer. Throat's getting a little bit dry, and I also want to drink more. So give me 1 second. I'm running to the fridge to get more beer. Oh. And I am back. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, I get winded. I'm so out of shape. I get winded every single time. Somebody mentioned, is there a good place to buy Bitcoin using PayPal? I don't know about that. Yeah, I haven't bought anything with PayPal. I think there's chargeback issues with PayPal, so I think most people would probably not do that. But I'm sure there's probably places to do it. You can probably look on Reddit as well. I do like beer, somebody mentioned. Yes, I do. But I'm not, and so I don't offend anybody. You do not have to drink during crypto happy hour. You can drink water, you can drink coffee. It does not have to be alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. I just tend to enjoy. See, I got a water, I got a Poland Spring. We're good. Do I think it's better to keep Bitcoin on a Ledger or on Coinbase during the fork? I'm going to keep mine on my. I'm probably actually going to keep it in both places. To be honest, I'm probably going to keep it on. Probably onto my Ledger, the majority on my Ledger, and then a little bit on Coinbase just in case. So I'm going to do both. Manita. Should you build your first mining rig or should you buy a pre-built one? I think it's kind of fun to build one if you have that capability. But if you're, if you're really new or you don't feel strong technically speaking, then buy a pre-built one. What do I think of Poloniex? I started with Poloniex, but I like Bittrex a little bit better. I think they're both good exchanges, but I'm just a fan of Bittrex a little bit more than I am Poloniex as well. Not sure about what Exodus is doing for the fork. I'm sure they have it covered, but I'm not entirely positive. But I would literally just Google Exodus B2X fork. Best cryptocurrency predictions for 2018. I mean, it's tough to predict anything. I don't think we're going to hit $10,000 before the fork, but I think at some point in time you're going to see $10,000 Bitcoin in the near future. I would love to see, who knows if it's going to happen, but I'd love to see Ethereum back above $400. Who knows if that'll end up going on, but I still think that Bitcoin will go above $10,000 at a certain point. And I also think that at some point in time, we're going to see probably, it might not be immediately after this fork, maybe not, but you're probably going to see at least one more altcoin run before potentially this bubble, the altcoin bubble pops or the bubble pops, whatever we want to say. So I've been evaluating that and looking at that, and I think you're probably going to have another run there. Best way to get your private keys, just send them to me. Just send your private keys to me, especially if the Bitcoin wallet has over like 50 Bitcoin. I'm the perfect safe storage keeping for that. So that's definitely what you want to. I think that's definitely best practice, safe practice when you're talking about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Is just send all your private keys to robacryptobobby.com, and I'll take good care of them. Do I think ETH will pass Bitcoin at some point? I'm starting to heavily doubt that. I don't know. I'm starting to, I think Ethereum and Bitcoin both have very different purposes, and they both have very interesting purposes. Bitcoin being the digital gold, Bitcoin being that in a lot of cases that digital gold, that store of wealth for this generation, I think, and Ethereum potentially being that really what could be a groundbreaking and what has been somewhat of a groundbreaking blockchain platform to build companies' decentralized applications, ICOs, smart contracts off of. So I think I think they're both, quite frankly, a ton of smart people, like an incredible number of smart people working on Ethereum, and there's an incredibly smart number of people working on Bitcoin. And in a lot of cases, I mean, when you're investing in technology, I think in some cases here, I wasn't serious when I said send me your private keys, by the way. That was a joke. Don't send your private keys to anybody. But when I'm looking at both Bitcoin and Ethereum and anything else, I'm looking at kind of investing where I think the talent is and where the money is, because I think that's going to help that technology continue to develop and grow in the future. So, it's hard to define what a good team is, but there are some fantastic, and I've talked to them, there's some fantastic engineers working on Ethereum and Ethereum applications. There's some fantastic engineers working on different applications like Bitcoin as well, or protocols like Bitcoin. And then some of the ones that are struggling, I think they're struggling for a reason, and it's because they don't have the good engineering talent that they really need to develop that platform. So, will there be a Bitcoin crash? I wouldn't doubt it. That wouldn't shock me by any stretch. I mean, even if it goes down 50%, you're still talking about Bitcoin at $3,500, which is where it was. Oh, what did I do here? Which is where it was, less than 2 months ago. So if Bitcoin crashes 50%, you're still talking about the value that it was less than 2 months ago. And over the entire year, I mean, if Bitcoin is up like 800, actually about 1,000%. So a correction would not blow my mind by any stretch. How long do these happy hours last? Until I run out of beer, my voice runs out, or until I really want to play Call of Duty. Because I got the new Call of Duty and I've gotten a little kick for it, and I'm absolutely terrible at it. It's the first video game I played in probably like 3 years, and I just turn every quarter in Call of Duty right now and just get shot in the face. So it's not ideal. So should we sell our Bitcoin? I mean, I think that's your call to make. I'm not selling mine, but I wouldn't also be surprised if we have a pullback. I mean, you're looking at this. This is basically a straight vertical line. So I'm not selling. I'm not selling my crypto for the time being. But like I said, we'll end up having to see what goes on here. Dwayne, you call me a dumbass? Am I over 21? Do I look like it? Yes. I am definitely very much over 21. I'm an old man. 21-year-olds don't get married. No mention, I'm building my own rig. How many GPUs would be ideal? I think it's how many you can afford. It's really the big thing. Coinigy, am I happy with it? Yeah, I like Coinigy. It's pretty cool. I dig it. It's also really helpful for this. Depending upon how much you trade or how much you look at the charts, you might not need it. But for me, on these crypto happy hours, as well as being able to play around with it, I dig it. All love, Dwayne. All love, homie. I need to get you off that caps lock, though. I look 53. Yeah, I do. I didn't get married that much after rum. You good? Just not at 21. Matt, what? Yeah, so there have been some issues right now, Kevin, with B2X and replay protection. I need to do a little bit more research as far as how all that is going to end up panning out. But right now, there are definitely some concerns around the lack of replay protection with B2X, which can certainly lead to some major issues. J-Man, I don't have 10 kids. I don't have any kids, which is why I don't live in a shoe, but can't even see where I live because I'm in a green screen right now. So, still dollar cost averaging at these all-time highs. Yes, I am. I'm going to dollar cost average my face off for until as long as I think that cryptocurrency is no longer going to be in existence, which for the foreseeable future, I am very much, for the foreseeable future, very much interested in cryptocurrency. So I've been dollar cost averaging on a bi-weekly basis since a long time, and I'm going to continue to do that. Continue to stick with dollar cost averaging because I think that is the way to do it. When is it appropriate to start freaking out and selling? I don't think it's ever appropriate to start freaking out and selling. I think you want to sell when you're not freaking out. Bruce, I appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much, my man. If you have any questions at all, definitely let me know. Happy to answer those. But thank you so much for the support. Very much appreciated, my man. Say hey, Brocky. What's up, Brocky? I hope you're not Brock Osweiler because you're terrible. Somebody mentioned, Chris mentioned, do I use my Ether wallet to add ERC20 tokens to my Ledger wallet? Yes, that is exactly what I do. Store all my ERC20 tokens on my Ledger through my Ether wallet, and that's my go-to. What's my day job? I work in software sales. Scott, those are the majority that accept cryptocurrency or Bitcoin as Overstock and Expedia. Those are really the big boys. Have I ever had a medium rare staked a coin, or have you ever medium rare staked a coin? Medium rare is the only way to eat a steak, and I eat steak, honestly, probably once or twice a day. Probably going to have a heart attack at age 40, but with that being said, I love steak, and medium rare is the only way to do it. Ribeye is the best cut of steak, and proof of steak, ribeye steak, whatever. Osweiler or McCown, as you know, I'm a Jets fan. I think McCown is somehow better than Osweiler. I would take McCown over Osweiler. I think McCown is not good. I want the Jets to get a real quarterback in the draft somehow, or if we want to pay Kirk Cousins $8 billion, fine, as long as we have a quarterback. But Josh McCown is definitely better than Brocky Brock. Fibori, millionaire. Now, why are you working? LOL. I'm not like one of those. I'm not like one of those fucking bums on YouTube that talks about how to become a millionaire on cryptocurrency when they're nowhere near a millionaire. And I may be a millionaire. I may not be a millionaire. But what if I also like my day job and don't want to sit at home and, as much as I love making crypto videos, it's maybe not all I want to do with my life. So, or I just have a good job and make a lot of money doing that. And it helps me invest more in cryptocurrency. I'm freaking and selling. Yeah, Caleb, throw me Jacoby Brisket any day of the week, my man. George, can you show us some cool features in Coinigy, please? It's Coinigy's not to be, not to give you a Coinigy, let's hear it too. It's the only way to do it. If I'm not going to sling out BitConnect referral links, what do we got here? I'll throw out a Coinigy referral link. I'll go real nuts with that. Here's my Coinigy referral link if you want to support the old channel. That doesn't work. Whatever. Screw it. But if you want to, you want to support the channel and you want to get a Coinigy account. Go to that little link and pop over there. If not, whatever. Doesn't really make a difference. But Coinigy is kind of cool because number one, it gives you can choose any of the markets. So basically any of the exchanges, whether Binance, Bittrex, BitShares, whatever. Bittrex, you can go sort by any of the trade pairings, GDAX. So I primarily just use GDAX and Bitcoin, USD, whatever. There are a number of features within the actual tool itself, whether you're looking to adjust a long position, if you're looking to measure how things have gone over the course of the day. So from maybe the bottom today where we're at to right now with Bitcoin up about 3%. Do I use BitShares? No, I don't use BitShares. Not a big fan. And I will be live streaming. Somebody else mentioned I will be live streaming. I will definitely be doing my best to live stream during the fork, even if it happens at business hours. So I'll take 2 hours off and try to live stream during the fork. I think it's supposed to happen at 7 a.m. Eastern time, so I should be fine. I'll just wake up early, get myself a coffee and a bagel, and hang out with you guys. If it happens at 4 a.m. on Eastern time, I'll wake my ass up and we'll live stream during the fork. Dusty, yeah, I am using OBS to live stream. OBS is pretty legit. And then outside of that too, so I mean, with this, you could draw a number of different trend lines if you want. Blah, blah, blah. If I want to pretend like I know what I'm doing and drawing a channel here, I can do that. I'm not actually drawing a real channel, but you could draw a number of different trend lines. And then in addition, you can actually trade through, you can set alerts, which is kind of cool with Coinigy. And you can also link up your GDAX account as well as whatever exchange accounts that you want. Have your balances in there, and you can also do a number of orders too. So if I wanted to, do any types of trading within my account, I can go ahead. I can click on the account, click on the GDAX account. I can trade Bitcoin to US dollar, whatever it might be, and I could pop those in there and do a little bit of trading there as well. So Coinigy is pretty cool. Depending upon your use case, it might be worth it. It might not be, but I like it. And it's especially helpful to talk to you guys about it. So it's like $15 a month, I think. If you got $500 in crypto, it's probably not worth it to spend $15 a month on it. But if you got a bunch of money in crypto, it might be worth it. You see what's happening with Monero right now. So while we're in Coinigy, let's pop over. Let's find who's got XMR. See Bittrex. Actually, no, it's yeah. So Monero's had a nice run in the past, past couple days actually, which has been pretty impressive to see. Let's put it on the week. But basically, in the past week, Monero's had really in the past day or so, but in the past week, Monero has had a nice rise up. Do I think Monero is a good investment? I don't personally have any Monero, but I think it has a legitimate use case. Privacy coins are legit. I think there is going to be a need for privacy coins. If you want to, again, I don't have any money in Monero. I have looked at putting money into Monero, but it's tough to buy on these big spikes. But as always, go to CoinMarketCap, click on the Markets tab, and that will tell you where you can buy Monero. So you can buy Monero on Poloniex if you're in the US or you want to buy with Bittrex. Use Poloniex, you can use Bitfinex, you can use Bittrex, Kraken, really whatever you want. So, I mean, Monero is traded on a good number of exchanges. How do I predict forks? I'm not sure exactly what it means. Jared, yeah, I actually teach. I don't know. It might be. I've taught some people how to get into what I do in my day job. So I wrote a little bit of a book one time, and recorded some videos on software sales. So that might be it. Yeah, Bitcoin to $30,000 by the spring. I think that's pretty aggressive. Would I love that to happen? Yeah. Would I be wealthy if that happens? Yeah. But do I think that'll happen? Not yet. I think the one good call, and I think this is a good video. Where's my guy? This is, let's see if I can get this here. Tom Lee, why Bitcoin? I'm going to exit out before it plays so you guys don't get your ears blasted out. But Tom Lee, who is a strategist at somewhere in Wall Street, somewhere in finance. But Tom Lee had this video where he talks about why he thinks Bitcoin will be worth $25,000 in the next 5 years. So different timeline than $30,000 by 6 months, but $25,000 within the next 5 years. And it goes to basically Bitcoin being worth 5% of the total market cap of gold. And that would put Bitcoin at... That would put Bitcoin at right now about, if it's at 5% of the market capitalization of gold, that would put it at $25,000. So I think that's something that's interesting. Do I ever arbitrage? No, I do not arbitrage. I do not do any arbitrage. For the most part, I think if there are legitimate arbitrage opportunities, they're already exploited by bots and software out there. So I think arbitrage looks cool, and you might look at Coinbase and be like, oh wow, there's a really good opportunity to go to Poloniex and buy it at $102, and then go over to Bitfinex and sell it at sell it at $103 and make 0.5% profit, and just do that over and over and over again. But, once you get exchange fees and trade fees and all that type of stuff, it eats away at any of that profit. And then by the time you actually do that, I've looked over a little bit of doing arbitrage, and I've tried a little bit in the past, but it's a lot of effort, and you need a lot of money. You need kind of money at multiple sections where it's you need money in reserve, you need money in the middle, and then you need money. Arbitrage is tough, and unless you're really automating it well, it's tough to do. There is a Lambo dealership in the town next to me. I drive past it every morning on the way to Manhattan, and I really want a Lambo. I'm never gonna get a Lambo, but my driveway has a hill, so I would bottom out with a Lambo every single time and ruin the bottom of it. But yeah, I'll take a Tesla though. I can roll with that. I think that is an interesting topic in Bitcoin in comparison to gold, because somebody like me personally, granted I'm a younger guy, I'm a millennial, blah, blah, blah. But I have no interest in investing in gold. And when people say, gold is worth whatever, $1,300 an ounce, that's cool, but I don't think how you value gold is anything different than how you value Bitcoin. People are, so dude, what's up, Chris? People are willing to value Bitcoin. People are willing to value, gold at whatever price the market is willing to pay. I really don't think there's an incredible investment or there's an incredible value behind gold other than making it into jewelry. But then again, it's people when I view Bitcoin in a lot of respects as digital gold. That's kind of what I look at, and as a store of value for the younger generation, because I really don't know. I work with a lot of smart people. I work with a lot of people that invest in crypto and that don't invest in crypto. But even if they don't invest in crypto, they're not really investing in gold, because what the hell's the point? They're throwing their money in Betterment, they're throwing their money in Wealthfront, they're putting it in their 401k, putting it in the stock market. But gold, nah. Taking money out of Bitcoin, putting it into goats. What's the ROI of goats? I mean, maybe you're killing it, brother. John, appreciate it. Thanks for coming in from Australia. Haven't been to Australia, want to go to Australia. So if anybody has a Bitcoin meetup out in Australia and wants to pay for me to go there, I'm happy to hop on a plane and fly like 20 hours there. As long as my trip's paid for, because I'm a cheap bastard. And I'd rather put my money into Bitcoin than I would putting it into travel. Chris, thanks for the Digital Gold book recommendation. Amazing book. Yeah, I love Digital Gold. Super good book. Really entertaining, really interesting. Big fan of Digital Gold. I thought that was an awesome book. I listened to it on Audible personally, but reading it is, I don't know if you read it, listened to it, but I loved it. It was like, I was going on a long drive up to Boston when I was listening to Digital Gold, and that was like, I was just fascinated the entire time. I was like, I don't want to stop driving because I just want to keep listening to this. Yeah, exactly. Definitely big on like the whole libertarianism point of view from Bitcoin and that aspect. Crow, thanks for joining yesterday. Appreciate the subscribe, man. Hope you're having a good one, brother. Wish I had invested in Regal Coin. Regal Coin's website looks like it was created by like a fourth grader. Yeah, I mean, you probably made money if you invested in it, but no, thank you. I'll pass on good old Regal Coin. You'll pay me in Potcoin if I come to Australia. I mean, if Potcoin keeps spiking, maybe I'll do it. Buying new kitchen floor sucks. Tell me about it. I redid my whole house like a year ago, and it was expensive and not fun, but it was worth it. So, yeah, Kenneth, Digital Gold is, oh shit, Digital Gold is awesome. Really big fan, and listen to it fast. Sure. What do we got here? Too lazy to get an affiliate link, even though I'd love that. But there's the link to Digital Gold. Really good book, in my opinion. Really, really good book. Mostly about Bitcoin, not about altcoins. At the time it was published, there's basically just Bitcoin for the most part. So, but if you have any interest in Bitcoin, if you have any interest in crypto, it's a story of how Bitcoin was created. I would thoroughly recommend it. Thoroughly recommend it. What's up from the Philippines? Do I think Bitcoin will go higher after the fork? I have actually been to the Philippines. Interesting place. I had a really good time there. Went to Manila, went to Cebu. I think it was Cebu. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It's been a while, but went to Manila. So I've been to the Philippines, so thank you for joining my man or my woman. Do I think it will go higher after the fork? I do not think Bitcoin will go higher after the fork. Personally, could it go higher? Yeah. If there is a ton of buy pressure and people take Bitcoin and move it, or B2X and move it directly back into crypto, or move it directly back into Bitcoin. But I think a lot of people are holding on to crypto right now, or holding on to Bitcoin right now in anticipation of the B2X fork to buy more into the altcoins in a lot of respects. And after they get that B2X, it's going to bump up the buy pressure in the altcoins. That's the feeling I'm getting. I could be wrong, but I think the price of Bitcoin might continue to rise going up into the fork. But after the fork, I think the price of Bitcoin might drop a little bit. USI Tech, I've heard some not so nice things about USI Tech. I don't think that's I think USI Tech is a little bit connecty to me. So, yeah. Thoughts on the Winklevoss twins? They're early Bitcoin pioneers. There's no other way to put it. They bought a ton of Bitcoin really cheap, and they also own Gemini, which I have not used personally, but I know a lot of people like that as an alternative to GDAX. I think it's a little bit more institutional focused, but Gemini is the Winklevoss bros. So, you can open a personal account or an institutional account. But I've heard some pretty good things about Gemini as well. I haven't used it yet. I might as well actually probably just pop this in. And I know they were trying to do the ETF and they got shot down with the ETF. It's unfortunate, but quite frankly, they've been nothing but good for the space for the most part, I think. So interesting. Somebody mentioned, what do I use to record my videos? Just a pretty standard webcam. This big old mic right here, and then I got a green screen behind me with OBS, Open Broadcast software, which is free open source software. It's pretty good. Is there a... It probably... What about the Internet of Money by Andreas Antonopoulos? Do you think it is worth it if you already saw all his videos? I haven't actually read his book yet. I have watched a ton of his videos, and quite frankly, when I was when I was getting into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency back in 2013, Andreas was one of the first people that I was like, I remember watching videos of him like sitting at a dinner table, and it was like somebody recording him on an iPhone, just like talking at a dinner table in some random like restaurant in like some foreign country, some random country in Europe. And I was like, this dude is the smartest person on the planet and the most entertaining person. And I ate those videos up. So I think he's a smart dude. I haven't read his book, but the quality of knowledge that he has is pretty outstanding. So I've been a fan. Vietnam bans Bitcoin as a payment for anything. What's your thoughts? I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with Vietnam. I haven't seen that, but it wouldn't. I mean, China banned cryptocurrency basically in Bitcoin trading, and the market said, "Cool, China." So if Vietnam does it, I'm not losing any sleep at night. Maybe I'm gaining sleep. You can make $1 million in BitConnect. You can also lose $1 million in BitConnect. So that's that, my man. Do I follow any Telegram groups? I'm in one Telegram group, and it's just for like people in New York that are interested in or going to hanging out and going to some Bitcoin crypto meetups. But like Telegram groups for like different calls and things like that. Pump and dumps, like that stuff. I'm not into. I'm not into pump and dumps. I'm not into any of that stuff. I stay out of it, and I get out of it for sure. Gravy Train mentioned because GDAX is pausing all trading movement of Bitcoin for 28 to 48 hours before the fork and will resume when it's safe after. What would be a good way to set up a sell order? I need to do a little bit more due diligence on it, quite frankly. I need to read the statements from a lot of these exchanges, and I'm probably going to put together a full video on what exactly is happening and how I'm going to play it. Because if there is replay protection issues, you want to be safe, and it might require you either to make some moves beforehand, maybe 3, 4, 5 days beforehand if you really want to make a move, or be patient and wait afterwards. So Long Island, what's up, my man? The island. How do you correctly draw in trend lines? I'm not a big chart trend analysis type of guy. I mostly, for the most, for the most part, follow other people in the space on that have been doing that for a number of years. Doing that for a number of years. So I've been learning about it and I've been studying it, but I think number one, I trust other people with trend analysis, chart analysis more than I trust myself. And so I don't want to give you any, I don't want to bullshit you guys and be like, oh, wow, I just threw these lines up on this, on this chart and that's going to be correct. So, because I don't want to make anybody invest in something that they think is going to do well because I threw up lines in a chart. So I trust some other people out there a little bit more than me, and I'd rather either retweet them or relay some of their information. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. But they have a little bit more skill and knowledge in the space than me. I think in some cases, trend analysis Bitcoin is such a new space, especially on some of these smaller altcoins. I mean, I think the market can be really manipulated on news and other events as well. Suffolk represent. If I go to Melbourne, Australia, I'll let you buy me a beer. That definitely works. Just reading through some of these questions. What software do I use to show the desktop? It's OBS software. What up long stream today? Yeah, it's a long stream. Going on 2 hours. Really just grinding it out and having a good time tonight. So if you guys have been sticking here for a while, number one, I appreciate that. And hopefully it's been fairly helpful and you guys have been enjoying it. But and if you are new to the stream, to the channel by any chance, my name is Crypto Bobby. I do daily videos on crypto. I do these YouTube happy hours every once in a while. I'll be on vacation for a couple days. I will be doing recorded videos. I don't know if I'll be doing happy hour because hotel Wi-Fi typically sucks. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah. East End. Utrust.io ICO. I have no idea what that is. And yeah, no. So outside of that, guys, coming up on 2 hours or so tonight, I think I'm gonna finish this beer and probably head to bed at that point. So outside of that, if you guys have been here for a while, I really do appreciate all the thoughts, all the questions. I will, like I said, I will be having a number of daily videos. Going to keep that up, keep that rolling. So you might not see the green screen for the next couple of days because I'm not bringing it on vacation, but I will have those videos out there. And if you the software, it's Open Broadcast OBS software. So that is channel's been blown up. How does this fame make me feel? It doesn't make me feel any different. I'm same old Bobby. I'm not famous. I wish I was, but I'm not. But I don't really wish I was. That's why I still have my own job. Yeah, just outside of that, daily videos tomorrow coming up on the price action and what's going on. Make sure to stay tuned to the channel. I'm definitely going to keep things rolling in the right direction for you guys. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really do appreciate it and hope you guys have a fantastic day or night wherever you're watching in from. Thanks a lot. Peace.